We go on to a matter which has been on the front burner, which has also necessitated calls for a special board or committee to be established for persons who have had the unfortunate fate of coming face to face with medical negligence to tell their stories and open up. I've been joined in studio by Emmanuel Asarikuma. He's a brother of a deceased Solomon Asarikuma who died sometime in 2019 at the 37 Military Hospital. He joins me here. Emma, welcome. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank
Deepest
you.
condolences to you and your family.
Thank you very much.
How's the family holding up?
It's been tough since the passing of Solomon. Because after the passing of Solomon, 8 months into it, my father died. Then a year on, my mother also died.
Oh, sorry.
My mother died out of all this frustration, losing the husband, losing the son, and the pressure on. So it's been really, really tough.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Very, very sorry. Now, I know that there's a certain void that has been created by the demise of Solomon particularly, and now your forebears, your mother and your father. How deep is this vacuum?
I would say there's a vacuum, but I believe Solomon is not resting in peace till justice is done. So I feel his presence here. I feel the presence of my parents here. And we are moving forward, hoping that what happened to us would not happen to any other families in Ghana.
Why are you suing the 37 Military Hospital, the Attorney General, the CDS, and also Colonel Dr. Gordon A. Apia?
I believe that we do have medical ethics, and if you're a patient and you go to any of our health facilities, there's a need for due care in taking care of you, and you do have rights. And if you go to any of these health facilities, as vulnerable as you are, and you are taken advantage of, leading to your death, which was totally preventable, then there's need to be able to take the system on so that whatever happened to you would not happen to anybody else. So that is the reason why we are going to court. But there's a whole journey from when the whole incident started to where we are now.
I'd let you tell that story, but just to place on record that the production team tried to reach out to the military and to 37 Military Hospital as well to get a response, to give them a chair at this table so we can have the audi alteram partem rule, the rules of natural justice play out clean. But they declined to speak with us. So just to place on record that we're not having a one-sided conversation. We would have wished to have a double-sided conversation, but here we are this morning with Emmanuel. Emmanuel, so what happened to your brother?
So my father wasn't feeling too well. He had been in coma for 2 months at a Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Thankfully, he woke up and he became verbal again. Everything was going on well. So my brother was living in the UK at the time. Okay. He's a British citizen, like naturalized. So he decided to come visit my father. So when my brother came, we noticed that, he was also having some few challenges. He wasn't too well. A month in, there was a day he wasn't able to open his eyes,
Wow.
So we took him to C&J Hospital in Sakumono Estates. When I say we, I mean my sister and the husband. I was then in the States. So family took him to the hospital. And they ran a CT scan and they found out there was a mass. Pretty much there was a tumor. He had a brain tumor. So in Ghana, if you go to a private hospital as best as you can find them, and you come out with a certain kind of diagnosis, the next point of call would be to the tertiary institutions. That would be Kolebu, 37 or Ridge Hospital.
That's right.
So my brother was referred to 37 Military Hospital. And with my father's experience at Kolebu, and my brother being admitted to 37, it was a kind of relief because we had our own challenges at Kolebu. And it's something we've never talked about. When my father was there, he was on feeding tube. There were challenges. Even though the nurses were given the needed supplies, they refused to change them. We had our challenges. So 37 were so excited. So when my brother was admitted at 37, the receiving doctor was Colonel Apia. And he was a consultant surgeon at the time. And met my sister and my brother-in-law, Emmanuel. And, after all the consultation, everything, he told them that he was going to charge 40,000 cedis for the surgery, with the explanation that it was an emergency and he needed to take care of it. So this was on August 22nd, I believe.
Which year?
That was 2019.
2019, okay.
So 40,000 cedis, surgery on Monday. If you're able to provide 25,000 cedis, I'll be able to do the surgery on Monday, on the next Monday. So in a hurry, we put money together. It was a Sunday. My sister, the Sunday right after, because the 22nd was a Thursday.
Okay.
My sister provided the money to Kelapia. And on the Monday, the surgery was supposed to happen. Then he gave an excuse that he has to reschedule the surgery from the 25th August to the for the 26th August to 2nd September. Then his explanation was he didn't have all the supplies. He needed a surgical glue. And so surgical glue, I just went on my phone and Googled surgical glue. And I sent a picture to my sister. So my sister also sent it to him to confirm that, is this what you need? He said, yes. So in the States, we just purchased this online through a pharmacy, and we told him that we'll be able to get it to him as soon as possible. So he now postponed the surgery to the 9th September.
Okay.
Because he didn't have the supplies
From the 2nd
to the 9th. Prior to that, it was the 26th. So the 26th now to the 2nd, then now to the 9th. So on 7th September, we were able to get this in the States. So 7th September, we had someone leaving the States to Ghana. So 7th September, the second glue was given to the doctor. The one who received that was called Corporal Awume.
Okay.
At 37 Military Hospital. So he received that because we had a Reverend Father who was leaving the States to Ghana.
So he brought it?
He brought it. So right from the airport, my sister just met him and brought it to the hospital. So we're expecting that the surgery will happen. And now it was postponed again because on the 9th, when he had taken my brother to the surgical theater, anesthesia, everything administered, he said the tools, the drill that he was going to use failed.
Wait a minute. So you got the glue. Your brother was on the slab. Anesthesia had been administered.
Yes.
Until it was realized that the what do you call it? The drill was not functional.
So at that time, he did not even touch my brother. So now he was aware that the drill was malfunctioning. So it was aborted. So it was just anesthesia that was administered. I don't know what else, but I knew he went to sleep with the hope that, the surgery. So he now postponed it from the 9th to the 13th.
What was the reason?
The reason because the drill malfunctioned.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the 13th, now he said he wasn't feeling too well. So he wasn't feeling too well. So he moved it to the 16th. So it was on the 16th that this time around, they went ahead, started the whole surgical procedure, and in the middle of the procedure, where he had split my brother's head open, that he said the drill that he was using malfunctioned.
Again?
Yes. So they had harvested some fat tissues to be used in the surgery. So this time around, he actually put the fat tissues in his head and sutured the whole head back and took him to the ward, to the neuro ward. So surgery starts. In the middle of it, the drill that he's using malfunctions. Prior to that, he already knew that the drill was going to malfunction. He didn't have the surgical glue. We bought it and we sent it to him.
But you had already paid money, what was demanded of you.
25,000 cedis, he already had that.
Okay.
And we purchased the surgical glue $1,000.
But that was outside the cost that had been agreed for the surgery.
That is correct.
So what happened? His head was split, drill malfunctioned, they sutured it back.
The ward. So now back to the ward. So everybody was angry. So when my sister went to the ward, with her anger and everything, she noticed that my brother's leg was swollen. So she alerted the nurses to whether, hey, my brother's leg is swollen. What's up with this? Prior to that, we had run a couple of lab, tests, Doppler tests and all that, and it was negative. So this time around, after my brother's leg was swollen and they ran the Doppler test, they realized that he had DVT, deep vein thrombosis. It's a blood clot.
Right.
And then we notified the doctor about it, and he realized that we would have to go to Kolebu, to the cardiothoracic center to do what we call an IVC filter to be able to take care of this clot.
Okay.
It costs $5,500. You would have to pay before they do this procedure. And so at the time, my sister negotiated with the doctor, like told the doctor, like, this is what we're going to do. And the interesting part is, the doctor was now saying that, Kenalapia was now saying that if we have the money to be able to afford to pay $5,500 for this procedure, then he's going to increase his amount originally from the $4,000 that he's already charged because he feels we have money. So my sister now started crying.
Okay.
I mean, there's no empathy here. You've already charged your amount. Let's say whatever he charged was what he's supposed to do. And just because...
Were you given a receipt for that?
So later on, he gave us a receipt for $25,000 from some Victoria surgical place, which was, I believe, is bogus. Because
but the brother was at 37.
At 37.
And so why were you giving from another hospital when you had paid money supposed to be in the account of 37?
At the time, you're vulnerable, and I think this practice is very consistent with, I wouldn't say consistent, but it's very normal with what happens. You go see a doctor, and other people have cases at 37 similar to what I have. Because when they go, the doctor is the one who says, I'm going to charge you this amount.
Okay.
And they pay. So there's another person that when we lodged a complaint with the military high command, the family also joined in that. They also paid money to Kenalapia. I think around the same amount. I remember when the husband was sending the money to him, you know, I had met him, I saw him running with the money, went to pay Kenalapia for a surgery. So I think it's something that's been ongoing. So when you go, the doctor charges you and you pay. You know, it's per what I know now, not supposed to happen, but it's been happening. So now we have to go to Kolebu, do the IVC filter. We did that, I believe, on the 25th and 26th of September. Okay. And, you know, the situation, you know, per whatever they did, you know, they had secured the whole thing with reference to the DVT. So now they felt like after a week or two, he could have the surgery. At Kolebu, I did a lot of inquiries, second opinion, you know, once the head has also already been split open, you know, who else probably can do the surgery? And I had called the British High Commission at the time, trying to make inquiries as to if we can fly him out. I called a few airlines, but with DVT, it's very complicated because now he's going to sit in the plane. If you're not going to use an air ambulance, if something happens on the plane and he dies, are you going to hold them accountable? So there was a lot of brainstorming, and we still felt that it was emergent because from an emergency situation and the whole thing keeps postponing. Now he said it's split open, and you know the surgery couldn't happen, and now we have to convince him that no, the doctor couldn't finish. You know, he didn't understand. He knew there was something going on, and so in the long and short of it is the surgery came on after the IVC filter. Okay. So this time round, the surgery was complete. He was sent to the ICU. Okay. When he was sent to the ICU... ICU
at where?
37? At 37 Military Hospital. Right. So when he was sent to the ICU, the doctor made a referral that he needs a CT scan. At the time, the CT scan machine at 37 wasn't functioning. So we had to go to Sunshine Healthcare by association, airport residential area, to go to the CT scan. They had to set up for about 1 hour because now he's on all these life support equipment. And we have to put him in an ambulance for a CT scan outside the hospital. Looking at the traffic situation in Ghana, I drove behind them. I mean, even when the sirens are blaring, there's no way some of these drivers are even allowing you. I have videos of that. And so we did this twice, with all the life support and everything on him. And the sad part is, Sunshine, as we speak now, my brother's medical records have been deleted in the system.
You don't mean it?
Yes.
So I'm just getting a message from one of our distinguished guests here who usually supports us with security and medical situations. And he says, Johnny, good morning. As someone who has taught biomedical ethics since 2010, medical students, nurses, and midwives do not take medical ethics seriously. Patients' charter by the Ghana Health Service is glossed over. I have taught biomedical ethics at College of Surgeons and Physicians School of Public Health in the University of Ghana, UHAS, as well as 37 Military Hospital. Less than 30% take their ethics seriously. Dr. Ishmael Norman, that's what he's saying. Do you share his view?
I do, because I pretty much felt like I lived in the hospital within the time my brother was hospitalized. So when he was in the ICU, there were numerous challenges.
Like what?
He did have this whole connection tube through his mouth to a ventilator. Because he was
and I've seen those photos. They are very graphic, which is why I'm not able to show them this morning. They are very, very graphic. So forgive me, but they are very graphic.
So you go to the ICU, and sometimes very simple things that you want to talk to the nurses about. There was one time, he has all these leads connecting to a monitor, to kind of check him out.
Right.
One of the monitor leads, I've had some training in emergency medical.
Okay.
When I was in the States, I was in the U.S. Army.
Okay.
So, these things, you can just unplug it and fix it. I was telling the nurse that, the lead is off. So, it's giving a wrong feedback. So if you can put it on. She just didn't mind. She kept going. And I got mad. Then she was asking me, who are you? No, you don't have to ask me a question, who
right.
am I first?
You're supposed to be.
So finally she did that. There were times that you go, the connecting tube, is leaking. And I would have to alert them to it. There are times that I'll go there and he's incontinent. They haven't cleaned up and I have to alert them to it. So every time, so it got to a time that when I go and I'm supposed to see him at 3 p.m. or probably earlier, I'll wait till maybe an hour first because now they want to make sure they clean him, everything, because when I come, I'm asking questions. And he was having difficulty breathing because now his mouth was swollen and all that. I wish we have the visuals out here. So now they had to do a tracheostomy, cut his throat here, and insert a tube connected to the ventilator. So after they did that, the swelling around his mouth came down. He started becoming a little, I would say conscious, but his eyes were open. When you talk to him, he hears you, but he cannot talk back. And sometimes, when you tell him to squeeze your hand at the initial stages, he wasn't able to do that. But now I'll hold his hand and tell him, squeeze my hand so I can know that he can hear me. Yeah. Then, once he squeezes my hand, I know he can hear me. So sometimes I'll call my mom over the phone so she can pray with him and all that. But you can see that 1 week, 2 weeks, he still wasn't getting better. So they put the trachea tube, hoping that at least, now it will get to a time where probably he could be able to breathe on his own. In the middle of all these, we're buying medication. And in buying all these medication, there was one time I went to the pharmacy, and the pharmacy was, they came all, I'm really nice with the pharmacists, like, there's a group of them. And I take pictures of all the prescriptions, I buy them, so at least the family can know we can keep, an account of everything that, is going on. Then they went and they were like, hey, see a kind, I'm like, I've noticed it because we are buying the medication. Like every time we're just buying
in large quantities.
Yeah, we are buying medication. We are buying IV fluids and stuff. And if you calculate, let's say you buy 10 bags, it's supposed to last you maybe up to 2-3 days. But then we're buying them like double. So they noticed that pharmacy. So they even printed a whole list of all the drugs that I've purchased from the time that we've been there.
Okay.
And cough mixture, for example. We buy cough mixture today, tomorrow we buy cough mixture again, the next day we buy cough mixture. So I asked the doctor, and she was like, oh, they use a syringe to kind of, administer it through the feeding tube, and sometimes some of them spill away. I didn't buy that. So then I knew that there was something happening, so I became extra vigilant. There was one time he needed blood. He's in the ICU, he's not going anywhere. I had Pojuba folks donate blood. We had linked ourselves to the Catholic Church out there. We had made arrangements, on standby that, if, there's need, people will come and donate in there. He needed 2 pints. The doctor went there to get the 2 pints. They told me that there's no blood. There's no blood. And I knew, so I became angry. So now I started checking online, like through different platforms, who can come donate and who, And somebody alerted me, call this guy at 37, he can. His name is Awuni. So I contacted this guy, he's like, he's a staff out there. And he's like, when you come, you have to relax and blah, blah, blah. Okay, pay this amount and I'll get you the blood. I paid the guy amount. It didn't take 5 minutes.
At 37?
Yes.
And you got the blood?
Yes. And he's in ICU. He's not going anywhere.
How much did you pay?
I believe I paid 400 one time. And another time I paid 200. Yes, but I have receipts. Okay. I have everything.
So you had occasion to petition the Medical and Dental Council.
Yes.
Why did you have to go to that extent? There was nobody at 37 you could have spoken to, nobody at the military high command you could have connected with. Why did you have to go through the Medical and Dental Council?
Before I went there, with all this stuff happening on, there was one time my brother had an issue. I went there, I was going to visit, I think it was October 20th. And they said that the trachea tube, he was having some problems, so they took it out. And they sectioned it, and when they fixed it back, the tube went through his skin. And when it went through his skin and they connected it to the ventilator, it bloated him. So when I went, Dr. Kuti, who was in charge, met me with Dr. Mariama. But all throughout this time that I was going to the ICU, I was only seeing house persons. Dr. Mariama was the one I was seeing. Prior to that, there was another house person. He never saw any specialist or any senior doctor. So he said, when they were inserting the tube, it went through my brother's skin, and when they connected the ventilator, it's bloated him, so don't be scared, don't be alarmed. When I went and I saw my brother, I mean, his face was all swollen. Prior to that, I'd seen the day before. And, he seemed to be getting better. Now he's all bloated. I got so pissed off. I went home, I calmed myself down. The next day when my brother died. When my brother died, and when I went, they told me, he died of cardiac arrest. I mean, as if, somebody's so naive. Have you even had an autopsy to be able to find out how he died, and you're telling me that he died of cardiac arrest? I went to the morgue to go see him. They told me they're having a meeting, they can't see him. So I started thinking, something is fishy out here.
You wanted to see your brother's corpse, and
yes, because
they said no?
Yeah, because it's all protocol.
Right.
It's all protocol. Let the family come see. It's all protocol. So now I started getting angry. Next day they brought the bill. When they brought the bill was doubled. Most of the procedure.
How did you know that it was doubled?
I was going through it line by line. We had receipts. So some of the procedures that we did outside, they had included all that in there. So now I had to go to the ICU to cross-check some of them. They had to mark some of them out. Blood bank, we had to do that. Like almost every other place, the labs, so they can cross some of these out. And there was a doctor out there, Dr. Tetefio. She's an anesthesiologist. In the midst of this, she had the guts to tell me that she doesn't have time for this nonsense. And
she said that to you?
Yes, she said that to me right in my face. Yes, because we're chasing the bill. There was a surgical gauze that was in there, and there was one officer there who he didn't understand what it was, so he was like he need to cross check. So in the midst of all this, so now I was like, no, these guys don't have any empathy. They don't care. My brother is dead with all these situations, and you're telling me that you don't have time for this nonsense. So I kind of calm myself down, looked at the bill. So finally decided cancel the whole thing, and all this. My brother was held at the morgue. And I think that this is something deliberate that happens out there, because once the person dies and they give you the bill, you pay it.
And around all this time, you had not seen your brother. You had not gone there to confirm if it was him and indeed was dead or not.
The day that he died, we were not. But the next day, we were able to do that.
Okay.
Yes, because they'll put him in a cold room,
right,
so
cold
at least
room, yeah.
if you're swollen or whatever, it will reduce the swelling. But I already had pictures.
What is your conclusion? Is it medical systemic failure or personal failure? Because you have mentioned names, but then the names also work within a system.
It's personal, it's the whole system. Look, the doctor did what he had to do. There were a lot of breaches I would say, there was a lot of breaches out there. ICU, something similar. The hospital itself, we were not even informed that the CT scan machine wasn't working. It was after the surgery that they told us. So now we had to transport him in an ambulance. I have visuals of this. I'm hoping that next time, if you're playing this in the news story, I think I give you permission to show everything. So I petitioned the hospital. Brigadier Obuda, he's the commanding officer at the time. I petitioned him. We waited, we never heard anything. Until the story came out, it went viral. Then Medical and Dental Council were brought in. We also petitioned Medical and Dental Council on it because they are the supervisory agency.
But the High Command set up a board of inquiry.
They did, because the military High Command took over because the hospital didn't do anything.
Okay.
So
did
serious
you
board.
Appear before? Then?
I did appear via Skype.
Okay.
Serious board, and I gave them everything that I had, all the complaints from the hospital, everything. I told them everything, and I provided all.
Do you have a copy of the report? Have the findings been shared with you?
So this happened last year.
Okay.
Nobody has contacted the family ever since. None. When they needed information, they would text or they would call. But after the board of inquiry had concluded their findings and presented their report, nothing. Not even calling the family to say anything. So then I realized that something fishy is happening. At that time, my understanding was the doctor was put on suspension throughout this time. And sometimes some of these officers, within will feed information to you and tell you, this is what is likely to happen. The report findings have come out with recommendations, and this is what they say, and all that stuff. But as in having a copy of it, no. So we had to let our lawyers, write to them officially, requesting a copy of these report.
Great. You're suing. Final question to you: when are you due in court?
We're on legal vacation at the moment. That's so right. Once the courts are returned back,
Reconvene,
and then we'll go ahead and start with the whole process. But as we speak now, nobody from the military high command has reached out to the family. And I feel like it's a slap in the face, because my understanding is that the doctor is back working with all this.
You know this for a fact?
I got an insider's information.
Emmanuel, thank you very much. Very chilling narrative there. But again, deepest condolences to you and to the family. And we will keep a keen eye on this and see how it goes.
Thank you so much.
Emmanuel Asarikuma is the brother of the deceased Solomon Asarikuma. And you heard the chilling revelation here. We, as I announced earlier, we had extended an invitation to the military to also have their side of the story, either 37 or the military high command, but they declined, according to my production team. So just so you know that we're not just dealing with one side of the conversation. We had wanted to have both sides here so they could ventilate their issues, but well, we only have one side here. But we'll see you after the break.